Good evening, everybody.
Here we go.
And welcome to the Mike Brey Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House. Another nice crowd on hand, which I said in the little warm-up. Certainly you're deserving of it. 9-2, the only ACC team right now with 9 wins, 21-3 overall. A 1-1 week when in the loss you didn't play as well as you can, but you still shot over 50% and came from a deficit of 8 points with 3:05 left down to give yourself the lead. And then last night, what a terrific first 15 minutes of basketball. And then you did what you had to do in a conference game, usually grind out the victory.
Yeah, we kind of had to hold them off. But, going back to the Pittsburgh game, I think you got to give a lot of credit to Pittsburgh. I mean, people that did their game said that's the best they played all year, and they played great, shot it great. There's no question our energy level was a little suspect after the week we had in Raleigh, going to overtime against NC State and all the emotion we invested against Duke here on Wednesday, which was just one of the great memories in our sporting history, the atmosphere we had here for the Duke game. But I love how we bounced back. We needed Super Bowl Sunday off to get some rest and get out of the gym a little bit. We've had 2 good days of practice, and I love how we got out of the gate last night. We got out of the gate flowing offensively, some beautiful stuff. We defended. I never think we're going to win a league game by 25. Just stuff happens, and they have the kid Hanlon who's talented, and they put a little game pressure on us, but we did what we had to do to get out of there. And I love the fact that we bounced back and got to 9 league wins, got our legs under us today. We'll practice in Cameron Indoor Stadium tomorrow evening, and then we'll tip it off and play in that very famous venue 1 o'clock on Saturday, and last time I checked, it's a big game.
It's a big game. As you said today, the Final Four crew for CBS will be doing the game, but it's rather interesting. Both you and Duke took on teams that had 1 win in the ACC last night. You jumped out by 25 and won by 8. I read an article today that your former boss took his coat off, was slapping the floor, and they only won by 6, and it was close all the way through. So it just basically, in what may be, I think you said today at your presser, you think it's the top atmosphere, the toughest place to play in college basketball. It's tough to win conference games.
Anytime you get a league win, no matter what the record of the opponent, it is a reason to celebrate for about 20 minutes, and then you got to put the film on of the next team. That's how quick it comes at you. But we're thrilled that we got through Boston College. I know they had to work like heck to beat Georgia Tech last night. And it sets up I'm really thrilled for this group that they get to go into this venue and play something they've heard about many times, Cameron Indoor Stadium, and have watched it and play when the stakes are high. 2 top 10 teams, CBS game. I think it's a great story. We just beat them 10 days ago. How do they react? How do we react? Last time I checked, it's a tough ticket.
Oh, it's a tough ticket. Well, a month ago it was $500 on one of those online services to see it. Notre Dame hasn't been there since '94. I've actually done 5 games there, and you were on the staff for 4 of them.
Yeah.
The Johnny Dawkins game where he blocked David Rivers' shot.
Yep.
At the end of the game, you win that by 2. And a lot of people forget, I don't even think this game was televised. Coach McLeod was here. Notre Dame was, I think, 5 or 6 and 11, and the game was tied, and Notre Dame had the ball. You forced a turnover, and there was a tip-in with 3 seconds left for Duke to win that game.
When I was at Duke, should have lost that game, didn't deserve to win. Notre Dame played great. Marty Clark from Westchester, Illinois, tipped it in at the buzzer to win it, and it was a flat-out theft against Notre Dame. So I know we've not have we ever won in the building?
No. But you're good at new territory.
You know what? Let's break that streak. We've been breaking streaks all year. Let's go in there and change that karma. Last time I checked, we've been pretty good on Tobacco Road, Jack.
Well, you have beaten every team this year in this season that calls Tobacco Road their home. Carolina, NC State, and Duke. And I know that your former boss is still very competitive, and he is now 19-2. Against former assistants, and you have the 2, and I know you want to make it 3, and he really doesn't want it to be 3.
Well, the guy who works for him is just or more competitive. So I love that we've got a little juice to this thing going on right now, and again, we've played great here twice, and our crowd was so good, and I'm thrilled for this group. But we've been good in road atmospheres. We've been poised in road atmospheres. Crowds have not made us play out of character. I think Saturday, though, is the ultimate test because our kids have heard about Cameron Indoor Stadium for so long. And that's one of the reasons we're not going to practice here tomorrow. We're going to get on the plane at 2 o'clock, and we're going to practice so we get into Cameron and get a feel of it tomorrow evening.
You know, having been to both venues now, and you and I both made our first visit to the new NC State
Sure.
Arena, but that's 19,005, and that's surrounded the court. I don't think Cameron is necessarily any tougher, but it has the aura about it.
Yeah, it really does. You've got the mental hurdle that everybody's heard about, and it's affected people. It is a great home court. I mean, I was fortunate enough to work there for 8 years. Now, I've been back in 12 years. I'm interested to see all the stuff they've done. They've got an elaborate practice facility. They've got new offices. It's really been fixed up.
So you think they'll give you like a tour and stuff?
I don't think so, and I don't want one. I don't want no damn tour of Cameron. We're all right.
You know it pretty well.
Yeah.
Talk about February improvement for March success.
We came in Monday, Jack, and I thought we needed to, there's so much being made of bracketology and what your seed's going to be.
You're a 3 seed today, by the way. I know you're worried about that.
Yep. But, you can lose the moment. And we've got a lot of basketball in February to play. And I've always felt this was a team that could get better all the way through the year. And so our theme in the locker room Monday before practice was February improvement for March success. And I had our guys suggest 1, 2, 3. We got to about 7 or 8 things that we want to concentrate on and focus on and highlight this February to help us. Certainly the first one spoken up by our captain right away was defense. And, it's an area where we want to keep coming back to. And I thought, for the most part, last night we were pretty good defensively. We held them to 43% shooting from the floor and got key stops at key times. And we certainly defended early in the game. So it keeps you in the moment of trying to just get better every day and not be barraged with, well, you're going to be this seed or this is what's going to happen. Because when they start talking about bracketology earlier and earlier every year.
And your team, you talk about grinding through a conference schedule. This is the grind. You mentioned Duke was the middle of a 3-game and 7-day stretch. Then you had Super Bowl Sunday off, a couple of days of practice. BC begins another 3 games in 7-day stretch. It is hard to balance both the academics here.
Very much so.
And a lot of the games, I think, 4 of the 6, I think, are on the road. That's tough.
This is a tough stretch again. We come back. We've got these 3 days and 3 games and 6. We got one under our belt last night. I like the fact that the middle game is an afternoon game on Saturday. We'll be back here at a reasonable time. And I also like the fact that Sunday there's no classes and they can rest a little bit before we practice on Sunday. And then we head right back down to Clemson, South Carolina on Monday night. And I don't know if anybody's been paying attention, but Clemson is sneaking up the standings.
They had the player of the week this
They're
week,
really good, and they guard you. And we got 2 games left with them. I do like the fact that after Clemson, we have a week off. It's a week. You do 2 things in that bye week, 3 things in that bye week. Number 1, I need to get out and recruit a little bit. All right? That's very important. Number 2, you need to get some rest. But number 3, then you have a couple days in a row of good practices after you do rest to tune it up for that next stretch.
I don't think, and I should have researched this, I don't think Notre Dame's ever played at Clemson. Certainly haven't played since I've been here.
Yeah, no way. I don't think we've ever been in Little John.
And we both know it is different when Notre Dame comes to town for the first time, especially when you're good, and you got him last year, but it was an overtime game.
It was an overtime game, and, down there, that's the heart of the Bible Belt. All us Catholics coming into town, they're coming out of the woodwork at Clemson Tuesday night. They haven't seen Catholics up close, so many of them. There's going to be a priest on the end of the bench. There's people that'll come just to see that. Really, they'll see that.
Is Father Pete making the trip? I bet they might.
Father Pete will make the trip.
I bet they want to touch him.
We need a bodyguard for Father Pete.
We've got lots of questions from our great audience here at O'Rourke's tonight for Coach Brey, and we'll get to those right after our first time out. It's the Mike Brey Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House, presented by TireRack.com. Welcome back to the Mike Brey Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House. Folks, you can take advantage of the men's basketball team's top 10 ranking right now. Select tickets for the Wake Forest game on February 17th are now available for just $10. Visit UND.com/buy tickets. The offer is valid while the Irish are ranked in the top 10 by the AP or the coaches poll. Act now while supplies last. Again, just $10 seats available for the Wake Forest game, as long as the Irish stay in the top 10, and they intend to stay there for most of the rest of the year. We've got some terrific questions, and by the way, we've got one of the youngest Irish fans around, but he's already diehard. He's all over social media. That's Brian Wasilewski, who's right over there. He's got all kinds of Irish gear, and he's here in a front row seat in the show, and he's actually looking over here paying attention.
The next Gronk.
Yes.
The next Gronk,
that
right
would be
there.
Great. Well, his dad, Big Al's here, and he would like you to debunk the unsilent Irish fans that think your rotation is too low, 7-8 players versus 9-10 players. By the way, I checked. Your former boss, and that's got to get irritating to you, but you're going to hear, hopefully it goes away after this weekend. He's using 7 players too, but please take the floor.
Well, you know, I think depth can be very overrated game to game. It's not overrated as far as practice stuff and what you need to do in practice, and you have to have enough depth to have competitive practices. And I think
you really work on that.
Yeah, and one of the strengths of our team this year is, you know, our second unit is very competitive against the first unit. But in the midst of a game, we've always shaved it down a little bit. Your key guys, I think, have to be out there. It's one of the reasons that really pays off in offensive efficiency. And I don't know a lot of people that are playing more than 8 or 7.5 that are really going for it. And it's the way we played. We're comfortable with it. Usually it's our older guys playing longer minutes. I think when you do that, you have to be very smart the day after a game. For example, what we did today with Jaron, Pat, Demetrius, Steve. We weren't doing defensive drills for 2.5 hours. And then when you do practice, your length of your practices. We're not on the practice floor more than an hour and 15 minutes now. We've done a lot together, and when you think about us getting started in Italy together, this group's been in the practice gym together maybe 100 times. So you have to be really smart, keep the routine fresh, and do things with them. And we do need these buys that are coming up. They come at a good time for our guys that have logged heavy minutes. But I think that can be really overrated and overanalyzed in the midst of a game that you need to play 9 guys. Right now, VJ and Bonzi are so important for us. They need to get as many minutes as possible off the bench. So that takes away from a Torres right now, a Gebbin right now, a Burgett right now. But you never know how things are going to change. I mean, Bonzi didn't play for 15, 16 games and then was in there. And, but I think it can be one of the most overanalyzed, overrated things in the midst of games. Practices, you need it. For example, I look at Duke, they have 8 scholarship players. How are their practices? Because they don't have enough bodies to go against each other. I think that gets interesting when you're down that. Syracuse, I think, is like that now. We've never been to that position because that next unit.
You don't practice long, but you practice hard.
I'll tell you one of the things that was really a key leading up to BC. We took our blue team because Boston College runs a little bit different offense, and they're moving and they're cutting and they're dribble hand. Our 5 blue shirts that ran their stuff, they did it for 2 days, full speed, and really prepared our key guys. They're like the unsung heroes of last night, and they will be moving forward. That's a big job for them. It's a key role for them. It's their job to do that right now.
I think people forget. I mean, I even remember because that was my sport growing up in high school. Wasn't that good? But we'd go play summer league. We'd start at noon and play till 6 or 7 at night. You go to these AAU tournaments where they play 3 games in a day. Plus, ESPN has sent out the notice, their national games now, the commercial break. The commercials are 2:30. I've been going through some games that I tape at home. The break is 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes, and you get a minimum of 9 of those. That's if neither team calls one.
There's plenty of time to get their legs back under them. Now, I got Jaron and Pat out of there in the first half a little bit because we had a little cushion and I was kind of experimenting. But you're right. You get along. I mean, the timeouts are so long, my guys are back out on the floor. I don't have that much to say in 2.5 minutes.
Well, your guys are always out quicker.
It's like, there's only so much. I don't want to overcoach them. We're playing pretty damn well right now. I just want to make sure we keep rolling. So, I think that can be really overrated. I mean, Jaron and Pat are in great condition to play long minutes. And, again, though, how you recover them the day after a game and the length of practices is a key.
Tracy Westwater's here from South Bend. Coach, we see a revolving door of shoes worn by the players. Love the hints of gold and green. Do they choose and have input on design and performance?
They have had a little bit of input on that stuff. They have. Back in the summer, they sat down with the Under Armour people, and Under Armour has been great to us. It's been an exciting partnership. But they kind of choose, and they also choose game to game what color they're going to wear. We've been riding the white shirts at home lately because we've been pretty good in the white. And, so they've given us a different look. There'll be another look for postseason, shoes-wise. Our guys are being taken care of with gear. They should not complain.
John Amoni's here from South Bend. Coach, is this team the most fearless you have had at Notre Dame? They never panic.
One of them, one of the things that gets me a little bit is, this is your best team, and they have all this, and this is your best.
This is not the first time you've started 9-2 in conference.
We've had a lot of pretty good teams here. I told a guy the other night, he said, oh, man, I've been waiting on this. I said,
3 Big East players of the year.
I said, you've been waiting on this. I said, where were you when we won 45 in a row in that old Joyce Center? I said, we've been pretty darn good around here. This team has special qualities. There's no question about it. They're really unique. They have an amazing closer in Jaron Grant. They have a great togetherness. They've grown up together. They should dream big dreams.
Sports fans have short memories. Blake Baumgartner's here from South Bend. What do you have to do differently being on the road at Duke to pull out the W? And I like that he didn't say upset.
Yeah, I think we got to score. You got to score. They're going to score. You're not going to stop them. They're really a talented offensive team. We don't double a whole lot on Okafor. Our transition defense has got to be good because they get out and get easy buckets and push it. But we got to score. We got to get into one of our offensive flows. And, we have the ability to do that and get really efficient offensively. I want us loose, going for it and attacking on Saturday afternoon, and I believe we will be.
Another thing fans do is you're good, so let's look at March. Paul V's here from Plymouth. How important is at least a single bye in the ACC tournament?
I don't even know.
And that's hard. I've seen Roy Williams say this and Coach K say that. They're two of the higher profile, along with you now. But is the conference tournament that important? It'd be great to win one, certainly for Notre Dame to be new territory. But how many teams make a run in their conference tournament and don't have any gas left for the next week? It's kind of
we go down there, don't get me wrong, we go down there to win. I don't feel we were part of the conference tournament last year. We were knocked out of there so quick. And the year before that, in the Big East tournament, we had gone to 4 straight semifinals. I want to play a little bit down there in Greensboro. If we're going to go down there and hang out and hit the Waffle Houses, I want to play for a while. So you try and win it, you try and play it. It'd be a great achievement. But then Selection Sunday's coming real quick. I do like the fact that we moved our championship game to Saturday night at the ACC.
I know, it's terrific. It
used to be Sunday, and I think it's great that it's Saturday night where, like the Big East, you were able to get back. And, again, on those Fridays in the Big East, we would play to Friday night. We got knocked out on Friday night, had a great run up there.
You made 4 straight semifinals.
4 straight. We were able to fly home Saturday, get our legs under us, wake up Sunday, do the selection show, and figure out where we're going.
Jerry Liss always comes, and Jerry, I think we already answered your question. Are you concerned about player minutes going into the playoffs? I'll also say I counted it up before we came over. After Clemson, Notre Dame has 5 games in 25 days. So they do have a chance to get their legs back. And you said today you get a chance to really practice, not just game prep, but practice.
Yeah, no, when you have those 1-week buys, not only can you rest initially, but then you can get into some practice reps and get into some things and get going. Just don't get hung up on Grant and Connaughton's minutes. Just believe me, they're really good athletes. They're really in good shape, and I'm taking care of them. Don't worry.
And I do kind of watch closely because it's kind of my job, but I've seen this a lot from both of them. When you talk emotion, they go, they don't want to come out.
Yeah, I'm always checking on them, seeing how they're feeling. And then these are the days today after a game where I'll talk to them, how your legs feel, what are you feeling? I'm plugged into their bodies. I know them. And, we'll be smart about that so they have their energy on game day.
Again, we talked about it last week, but when Pat came down and hit his head, and I didn't really realize it till your show, that shot, he missed 64 seconds. So I think that kind of sums up. Pat Connaughton does not want to come out of a game. We do have a special guest here. Eric Katenda is here, and he's going to join us right after this timeout. The Mike Brey Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House. Welcome back to the Mike Brey Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House, presented by TireRack.com. Our special guest tonight, Eric Katenda, 6'9", 236-pound junior forward from, yes, Paris, France. You know his story very well by now, but when you recruited him, he was the 27th-ranked power forward in the country. He was a big get, had the unfortunate eye injury, but he keeps battling. He's really helping you in practice, and one of the things he does now, he's Okafor in practice when you guys get ready for Duke.
He is. He'll be playing that role tomorrow. But, I've coached a lot of guys here. I don't know if I've ever been prouder of a young man than Eric Katenda and all the different things that he's had to battle through. We know about the eye situation. He's come back from that. He's had the knee problems. He's come back from that. And for a guy who would have every reason to hang his head and woe is me and the world is cheating me, never comes across like that. Very positive. He's a man, the stuff he's been through. And for our young guys and our players to be around a guy like that, I think it's very positive on a daily basis. He plays on that blue team, and he gives the white shirts everything they can handle on a daily basis. I'm just so thrilled that he's been healthy to practice with us for the last really 2 months, and it's helped us become better because we have him on the floor.
After playing in a couple of games last year, you've played in 12 this year. You have 11 points, 6 rebounds, first bucket against Navy. Now, anybody who plays the game, that had to mean something to you to get your first basket at Notre Dame. Well, how did that feel for you?
Yeah, for sure, especially not getting in a game for about 2 years. It was definitely a special moment for me. Just being able to
showed it on the monitor. We have a little Eric Katenda highlight reel.
Oh, you like that little spin move I just had? Something I've been working on for 2 years.
Obviously, education was very important to you, and that's not easy here. You have to work very hard to maintain eligibility and to do your job. And your job right now is to be ready because you never know what's going to happen. And again, you make some plays. Coach isn't just saying this because I'm lucky enough to go to some practices. You make these guys work. And if they back off at all, you block shots into the second row, you dunking on guys. You have made this team better.
Yeah, I try my best. It's fun to play with those guys. And, I love to compete. So just being out there in practice, just competing against them, it's fun to me. So.
You went to high school in the United States, but you were born in Paris.
Yes, sir.
Have you adjusted to the American lifestyle? Do you like it better? Is it different but enjoyable?
I pretty much consider myself American. I've been here for so long. It's been 7 years now. So when people ask me where I'm from, I just tell people I'm from D.C. now. Just skip all the small talk.
What do you like about the U.S.?
What I like about the U.S., the food, that's one thing. Because, Coach Brey will tell you in high school, that's why I was just a stick. I was 6'7", probably 175 pounds, 175 pounds. I'm like 6'9", 235, so I've been eating a lot of food.
French food is supposed to be so terrific, and I've been to France a couple times. I have noticed that the portions are always so little.
It's real small. It's real small. But the thing is, my parents from Africa, so I grew up in a completely different culture, but whenever I went out to eat with my friends and stuff, it was really small plates and stuff. But it was really good, though.
What I've always thought, my wife went to school for 6 months in Avignon, France, down in Provence area of France. And so we go over to Europe rather frequently. And I really think that you get such a great perspective. A lot of Americans never travel, but when you get to see other parts of the world, and you grew up in a different part of the world, and now you're here, do you think that gives you a different perspective than maybe some of your classmates who have never left the United States?
Yeah, my professors actually love me for it. They always say I give a different perspective being from France because people all grew up in this society and view things the same way. Being from overseas is kind of giving me a different way to approach things, approach social issues and stuff of that nature.
Right from the time you got on campus, I know you remember the interview we did with you right when you joined the team. And
yeah.
The optic nerve situation was a situation nobody should have to go through. You have never hung your head. You have always been upbeat. How have you been able to do that? Because a lot of people could not do that.
Just a great support system. My family, my friends, the coaches, the guys on the team, the guys I met on campus, the guys from high school. A lot of people just, keep give me words of encouragement, and that's been a game changer.
What's the best thing for you about being part of this team right now?
The best thing for me, just having the opportunity to play here and just meet guys that I just met this year on the team is it's just special, and we're having a great season, so there's nothing that can really beat it. I know I'm not playing. I wish I could play, but just being a part of it is really special. So I'm trying not to worry about me because it's not about me. I'm just trying to enjoy the process.
And how do you think, because you'll get your degree here, how's that going to help you in the next step in your life?
Well, a degree from Notre Dame. It's special. Coach Brey told me that when he was recruiting me. Once I get that, if I come to Notre Dame, I'm going to get my diploma, and that's going to weigh a lot in the world. So can't wait to get it and see what I can do with it.
When we come back, we will run the fast break with Eric. But first, this time out, the Mike Brey Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House.
John here.
We're back at O'Rourke's Public House, the Mike Brey Radio Show, presented by TireRack.com. We have one player from Doug Buell that's for coach and player, one question. But I think I'll throw this at the coach. And Doug is a diehard fan, but I'm not sure he's watching the game the same way I am. He says, I've noticed that the offense has more difficulty against a zone defense. How do you deal with this in practice? First of all, do you agree with the premise?
I think we have stalled at times against zone. We've not cut and kept passing like we do against man-to-man. We actually watch some tape because Duke does show some zone. I think we can be better there, and we'll get some reps at it tomorrow night in Cameron before we play Saturday.
This is for you. Perfect scenario, Eric. NCAA final game. Who would you want to play?
Well, the best team in the country right now, Kentucky.
Kentucky.
That'll be a fun matchup.
Would you care, Coach? Who would you want to play?
That'd be good with me. I'd like to be in that thing.
That would be terrific. All right, you've done this before, Eric, and you've done it well. What's your favorite all-time movie?
The Book of Eli.
First car you ever drove?
Mazda, some type of Mazda. I'm not good with cars.
Well, France drives on the right side of the road, though, so
No,
that
that's
wasn't
England.
confusing.
That's England.
Yeah, England's the other side. When I'm saying the right side, but we call Americans.
Oh,
if
the
you
right
drive,
side.
We
the
call
right
it the
side. Okay.
correct side of
okay.
the road.
All right,
right.
Get it.
So you didn't have that. You didn't have that.
No, no
okay.
trouble with that.
Get up early or sleep in.
Get up early.
Do you have a celebrity crush?
Not really. No.
You can't worry about
Well,
stuff
his girlfriend's listening, so that's probably why.
like that. He's a smart guy. Favorite musical group or artist?
116, a group of rappers.
Okay. Who is your role model?
A role model, I say my mother, like every year. I told you that before.
But it's a new show, and not everybody here heard it.
All right.
That's one thing about life. It's like Groundhog Day after a while when you get to it. A lot of the same things happen all the time. You're an interesting guy, and we've already told folks a lot about you, but one thing the public would be surprised to learn about you. What do you think?
One thing. So I don't consider myself to be a very interesting guy. The coaches will tell you they don't think I talk that much, but I'm actually really talkative. Like, I talk a lot more than what people think. I seem very, distant and quiet at first, but I can talk a lot. I have a lot to say.
Have you seen that?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if we see it as much, but I know behind the scenes he's very vocal. Yep.
Favorite sport to play other than basketball?
Soccer.
Favorite part of practice?
The warm-up part, when we all get to dunk and just run around and get crazy.
Worst part of practice?
Stretch. I feel like it's boring, but with all the injuries I gotta cherish that moment now.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. It hasn't just been the eye. This guy, it seems, he gets injured after he's fought through so many injuries. It's amazing he comes out and does what he does do in practice now. Best part of your game?
Best part of my game, I feel like, facing up in the post. That would be it. Facing up, attacking the rim of the post.
Part of your game you need to work on?
Ball handling, jumper, defense, a whole bunch of things. Conditioning. Can never stop getting better.
Favorite part of the trip to Italy?
It was the hotels we stayed in. The food was crazy. I did not stop eating over there. The games were actually pretty fun.
That he missed curfew every night. He was on that French curfew.
He was on the French curfew?
Yeah.
Which means the day doesn't end until the sun comes up again. Player on the team most like you?
Player on the team most like me? Say Austin Burgett.
Player on the team most likely to be on the cell phone the longest?
Zach. He seems like a sweet talker. Zach. I can see him do it. spend a lot of time on the phone.
You're a sociology major. You told me you're taking 4 sociology courses this semester in your
Yeah.
majors. That's got to be tough. What's the favorite class you've taken at Notre Dame so far?
A computer application class where I learned to code and like build I learned to code. I learned how to use Photoshop, and we're like making websites and web applications and stuff. So that was pretty cool.
He's a spy.
Yeah, working on that.
You're well traveled. We know that. City or place in the world you would like to visit that you haven't been to yet?
China. I'd like to go to China just to see what it's about.
One person you would like to meet?
One person I'd like to meet. Yeesh. I'd say Michael Jordan. I'll be the corny basketball player.
Best nickname on this team and who has it?
Big Baby.
It's Colson. Best player to room with on the road?
Steve.
Toughest Notre Dame player to guard?
Toughest best. Jaren Grant or Pat Connaughton, one of the two. Jaren Grant, 'cause he's so quick, and Pat, 'cause he's a lot stronger than what people think, and he can play so many different positions. It's hard to deal with.
This is always Coach's favorite question. Assistant coach who is most like Coach Brey?
I'd say Coach Bolanis. They dress the same.
They dress the same. Oh, Pat Rogers is getting a kick out of that one. Best defender on the team?
Best defender on the team, Pat Connaughton.
Best leaper on the team?
That's tough. VJ been coming up with some crazy dunks in practice. That's VJ.
Well, and that's the next question. Best dunker on the team? Is it VJ?
Yeah, I'd say VJ.
Worst dunker on the team?
I'd say Austin Torres because he may have a lot of bounce. He looks awkward up there.
Austin pays attention to this show. That's going to get
He's
back.
probably tweeting right now, right back at you.
Best dresser on the team?
Best dress on the team, I'll probably say Jaren.
Worst dresser on the team?
No hard feelings, but Steve.
You're not the first to say that. Best singer on the team?
Best singer on the team, Zach. Zach is a sweet talker, man. He likes to, do it for the ladies.
Worst singer on the team?
Sheesh. Worst singer? I'll probably say me. My voice is just so bad. I can't.
All right. Best comedian on the team?
Best comedian? Bonzi Colson is a funny guy, man. Just spend 24 hours around him, you will not stop laughing.
All right, you guys work on free throws every day. Free throw contest, who wins, you or Coach Brey?
It hasn't changed from last year, man. I take me every day. Every
He's
day.
got the form. He's got the form.
Yeah, I've been working on that.
We're going to do this. Some year for your TV show, we're going to have player-by-player free throw contests with you.
Okay.
Of course, that might strip them of all their confidence when you dominate them.
We'll put a hoop in here next year, and we'll do that.
All right.
That's fair.
Outstanding job, Eric. Thank you
Way
very
to go,
much.
Eric.
No problem.
We're back with more on the Mike Brey Radio Show right after this timeout. We are back on the Mike Brey Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House. Another great crowd here. I'll tweet out a picture after the show, and the vast majority of the folks are here tonight to hear from Coach Brey. We have more questions. As always, Gary Rivers is here once again from Mishawaka. With the ACC tournament fast approaching, do you have a preference in seeding for the tournament?
No.
It's clear that our fans are really interested in the ACC tournament.
And I will be, too, around March 6th or 7th.
Well, you really can't afford to be messing with that. You've got too many big games coming up, and you've got some really good teams. And I think we got to play Clemson twice.
Yeah.
And they're the team our fans probably have no idea is a really good team.
Yeah, our fans need to understand Clemson's really good. I know they know the guys Saturday are good, but that's where we're still getting used to this league. Our fans are getting used to this league. Clemson's really good. I haven't thought that far ahead. Man, it'd be great to get a double bye. We used to do that a lot in the old Big East and play on Thursday, but that's kind of the furthest thing from my mind right now.
And you end the regular season, which is also should be the furthest thing from your mind, down at the Yum Center where you've played well against Louisville. But that's on your you basically gave it top 5 toughest places to play, and the Yum Center is one of them.
Yeah, we've got to go there, midweek, right? Mm-hmm. Like on a Wednesday.
It's Wednesday night.
What do you think? 2, 3, 4 overtimes?
5 overtimes.
What do you think?
And I tell you what, that crowd, it's an NBA-like atmosphere, and they serve beer. So the crowd is loud, and they have no filter. This question isn't signed, but it's a question on the tip of everybody's tongue. When and why did you switch from turtlenecks to button-downs? And actually, you don't wear button-downs. You wear these nice dress shirts that cut the collars really tuck in nicely under your sport coat or your suit coat.
Was it Rod Bolanis that recommended that, Pat Holmes? I might as well just jump on with both feet. You know what? I think it was a total midlife crisis. You know, I just think I rode the mock hard
for so
my
long.
Delaware days and all those days. I just felt, it's time to switch it up. And now here's the thing. When you play in the South, like we do, it's a little warmer in those gyms. So this is a lot more comfortable than the old mock.
Now, your first year at Delaware, is that when you started the mock? Did you ever wear a tie as a head coach?
I did, like my first year. And then, when you're riding a bus 5 and 6 hours, that was the only way to travel back in the old America East when you're bussing home from Boston University, 6-hour bus ride home. So that's how we got into it, and, we just kind of stayed with it. It was easy. It was simple. But I think my daughter really suggested, Dad, it's time to change the gears, man.
I mean, I remember when every NFL coach had a clothing deal and was wearing a 3-piece suit. Ditka was out there in the pinstripe, and now they wear coaching gear. I mean, and of course, Belichick takes it to a whole new level, cutting the sleeves off of hoodies and whatnot. Would you want to wear polos and khakis?
I love the international way. Our guys, when they coach internationally with the slacks and the polo and even the sneakers, I mean, I wouldn't mind us. I know we have a suits and sneakers weekend for Coaches versus Cancer. Maybe we could have a dress-down weekend, and maybe it would catch on.
I think Huggins was wearing a sweatsuit for a while. I saw him the other night. He was back into his suit. I don't understand.
Was he?
Yeah.
He keeps you guessing.
Maybe it was a special occasion.
Coach Hugs keeps you guessing.
Brandon Liss is here from South Bend. Which stadium arena is your favorite to coach at besides Purcell Pavilion? Doesn't matter to you?
Yeah, I don't really have a favorite that you feel like, God, I love going there. And well, I'll say this: I miss the Garden. Yeah. All those years of the Garden. I love being in New York and coaching in the Garden. I love being in the city, the energy of the city. I do miss that, but I do like the fact that the ACC tournament is eventually getting to Brooklyn in a couple years.
And the Garden's actually an old building. They've refurbished it. It's nice, but it doesn't have all of the amenities that the newer arenas do. It's just too darn expensive to build a new one in Midtown Manhattan. But it's the most famous arena in the world. It's great to be there.
It's got a lot of personality and memory, and you ride that freight elevator up. I miss it. I do miss it.
And Notre Dame's special in New York.
Yeah, no, we've had always a great following there. And, before we left that Big East, that was 4 straight semifinals. When you play on Friday night,
it's buzzing.
You come out on Friday night in the Garden in the Big East semis. It's electric in there, and I miss that. But you know what? I would like to experience that in Greensboro this year.
It would be terrific because they're proud of that tournament.
Yes, they are.
Last year they cooked me around. This is the way we do it here at the ACC tournament, Jack. I was a rookie there, and all the other announcers took me under their wing to explain to me that I was now in the big time at the ACC tournament. I said, well, but I've been in a Big East tournament in New York. I think that's kind of good too. But we got one more break to take. We'll take that, and we'll focus on that next challenge for the Irish on Saturday at Cameron Indoor Stadium. It's the Mike Brey Radio Show live from O'Rourke's Public House. Welcome back to the Mike Brey Radio Show live from O'Rourke's Public House. Notre Dame 9-2, the only ACC team with 9 wins so far. Half game back of first place Virginia, ahead of Duke in the standings. I guess you go down there just really with nothing to lose.
We're going to let it rip on Saturday afternoon. Our guys are excited. We know it's a tough place to play, but I think we're really ready for the challenge, and we played in tough road atmospheres. We're 4-1 on the road in ACC play. We've won and played well below the Mason-Dixon line, Jack, and last time I checked, we're below the Mason-Dixon line again.
I know on the charter flight back, I looked at you and said, look what you've done. You've raised the bar high. You shot over 50% at Pitt.
I know.
You come back from an 8-point lead with 3 minutes left with a chance to win, and everybody's pissed off.
Yeah.
But you have played well every road game so far. You just didn't play as well as you knew you were capable on Saturday. So no reason not to go into this game and play well against it. I know you've talked about your concerns, and I'll ask you that question next for Duke, but you're also, and you've proven this, you're a tough matchup for the Blue Devils.
Well, we are. I think we're hard to guard for anybody we play in the country and anybody in our league, certainly. We scored 76 or 77 last time on them. We're going to have to score the ball to win the game, because they're going to score. We got to make sure they don't scorch us. But we are going to have to get into one of those confident offensive rhythms. and have one of those second halves that are magical that we've had this year at times offensively.
I even got tweets during the first game. I do check them occasionally. People going, they got to double team Okafor. They got to double team Okafor. Talk about why you don't, and it proved to be very effective in that game.
Yeah, I mean, he gets his 20, he gets his 22. I think I'm more worried about the other guys making a bunch of threes, and then you can't close the gap if
and
they're
they've got guys who can shoot
They
threes.
do. They can spread you out. So we played with one guy, and we've crowded off of certain guys, so he sees bodies, but not a crazy double team. And we're going into the game. We're going to play the same way, but we may play some zone. We'll have some different guys guard them. We got to be physical with them and maybe put them on the line sometimes.
It is a special game, and you've got two guys, two seniors who have given you great leadership.
Yeah.
But for them, this too is a huge game. How do you approach them just to make sure that the motors that already run high don't run too high?
I probably will grab them, before the game, before maybe even in shoot around or even in practice tomorrow night and say, remember, you're going to play 40 minutes, so just relax. But have fun and set the tone for us. And I'll tell you what, I wouldn't pick any other two seniors to go into Cameron Indoor Stadium than Jaron Grant and Pat Connaughton to set the tone on Saturday afternoon.
It's going to be fun, folks. 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon, CBS National Telecast. If you can't get there, you can listen to it right here on WSBT or on Watch ND. For Coach Brey, I'm Jack Nolan. Thanks for coming out, everybody. Thanks for listening and watching. Good night, and go Irish.